Welcome to our Industry Insights interview. Today, we are interviewing Uncle Devin. His name is Devin Walker. He is a national leader in children's music. He calls himself the children's Drumcussionist. He's a member of the One Tribe Collective, who was nominated for Best Children's Album for the Grammys. He has an Uncle Devin Show. It's an interactive musical experience for children where he uses percussion instruments to cultivate their minds. He has a really fun genre and style, including funk, and he's going to tell us more about that. And his show takes children on a journey through the land of percussion, and we're going to have some fun with him today. Hello, Uncle Devin.
Well, hello. Thank you for letting me be here. I am so honored. And you know what? The fact that you even wanted to take the time to talk to someone like myself, I'm just honored. So thank you for letting me be here. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. It's all about having fun. So I just wanted to start out by asking you a couple of fun questions. So let's start out with the hot topic, which was you just had your first Grammy nomination. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So tell us, did you start the One Tribe Collective?
Well, no, I did not start the One Tribe Collective. It was started by my good friend and our good friend, Amelia Robinson. She had approached a number of Black artists because through her contacts, she had heard that a major record label, but they also wanted to do a children's album. And their contact reached out to Amelia. Amelia began to make phone calls, and we all came together as a result of that. Well, after a long period of communication with them, it was decided that we weren't going to go with them. You know, the terms of the agreement we just didn't agree with. So we decided to do it ourselves as a collective. And at that time, we had Aaron Nigel Smith, Amelia Robinson, and Shawana Kemp, known as Shine and the Moonbeams, that had agreed to be our co-producers. So we all came together as a group to decide to do it, and they decided to become co-producers. So, and we just opened it up to as many people who wanted to be a part of it.
I want to say all of their names to celebrate One Tribe Collective. So their album was called All One Tribe Album, yes. And the artists were Alphabet Rockers, Fuchs, Divinity Rocks, Miss Nikki, Reese Palmer, Saul Paul, The Magic Jones, Uncle Jumbo, Shine and the Moonbeams, Roy Moy III, Kimberly Stewart, Pierce Freeland, Culture Queen, Melanie Demore, Nanny Nikki, Aaron Nigel Smith, Robbie K, Uncle Devin, DJ Willie Wow, The Wise Channel, Jessica DeShong, Groovy Nate, Miss Janice, Jabali Africa, Father Goose, and Snook Nook. I just want to congratulate you. So the One Tribe Collective, including Uncle Devin, just got their first Grammy nomination. It was 26 Black artists plus more who were nominated for the Best Children's Music Album here in 2022. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I just want to ask you, what do you feel like this is going to do? The fact that 26 Black children's artists were nominated for a Grammy, how do you feel like it's going to benefit the artist as well as benefit the community at large?
Oh, well, just first of all, the community. It brought us together in a way that, and not even just the Grammy, but the project, because we didn't come together because of the Grammys. We came together because of the things that were going on in the country, the social justice issues and the death of George Floyd and others. So what this has been doing for us is really opening up other doors. It gave us almost the validation in those eyes who need that type of validation in order to know that we exist. We already know we had it, and we didn't need we had our own confidence, but it really has opened up other doors and let people really realize that this is a real, true industry. And there are a number of artists that are playing different genres of music for our children. So for us, it really has opened up doors. It's given us different opportunities that we didn't have before. And we are all so grateful for it.
So it not only gave visibility to the artist, but it gave visibility to Black children's music. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Exciting. I
Yes.
remember listening to your radio station, by the way. Small plug to We Nation Radio. You guys got to listen
Thank you.
in,
Yeah.
wenation.com.
Uh-huh.
But I was listening to your radio station, and it was all about Black positivity, Black hair positivity, Black skin positivity. I had never heard such a comprehensive, encouraging hour when I was listening to your radio station with things that reflected me, myself. I listen to a
Yes.
lot of music, I play a lot of fun dance music, but when you're sometimes listening to the radio, sometimes it can be talk about the blues or talk about different things that might be a little discouraging to some groups or
Mhm.
encouraging to other groups. But this was encouraging all over to men and women who were African American. I just thought it was amazing for
Mhm.
me to see this, you guys coming together, but also getting recognized just means that the music community is recognizing you and wants you to come to the forefront, I feel like. And so I
Yes.
feel like it's exciting because there's so
Yes.
much that it does when you bring that visibility. There's so much work that you did in your separate group, which was the One Tribe Collective. There was an actual um, advocacy group that you created
Mhm.
that brought so much positive change the year
Mhm.
before. And so
Yes.
it's just so great to see that things are changing for the better and things can continue to change for the better.
Yes.
I think we
Yes.
all need that encouragement right now.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing success in your life. Even if you don't think that, at certain times you have certain milestones, but bringing that visibility, it brings visibility to so many others. So thank you and congratulations.
You're welcome. And let me just say that individuals will hear DJ Princess Ellie also on We Nation Radio.
Hey.
We play, and the beauty of We Nation Radio is that we consider ourselves the best in global beats for little feet. And we just highlight those genres that generally don't get the amount of attention on some of the mainstream children's music radio stations. So you'll hear R&B, hip hop, funk, jazz, reggae, calypso, go-go, and African world rhythms. And although the majority of those you might hear are people of African descent, we play it by any artist who focuses in any of those genres. So you will hear a wide variety of artists of different from around the world on our station.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so great. Well, let's get to the big question on the docket, which is, do you really like onions,
I
Devin?
really like it's nothing like sauteed onions to to get the smell of them. I mean, I love to eat it almost on everything. And and as I mentioned in the music video, if you go to the music video for I Like Onions, you'll see me at the end eating an onion pie. I don't know if you ever had an onion pie, but it's a real onion pie, and the way you make it, it actually tastes a little bit like quiche because there's a little egg in it and that type of thing. So we had made that, but my people around me, my other band at the time, my other buddy that was there, he was too afraid to eat it. So, but it was pretty good.
So Devin has a hit song called I Like Onions, and the lyrics are I like onions, I eat them in the park. I like onions, I eat them in the dark. I like onions, I eat them over here. I like onions, I eat them everywhere.
Right. In the
That's
morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, in the night. I just love onions. But you got to brush your teeth afterwards.
Oh, you do. I love such sauteed onions as well, but I don't
Oh.
know if I love them as much as you do.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I do like onions, but I just decided to come up with that song, so it was just a lot of fun.
That was so much fun. So Devin, I'm just gonna ask you a quick question. What is your main age group that you serve with your albums?
Um, Overall, my main group, the group that I target the most are pretty much, I would say, if it's hoping too wide of a range, but from 2 to 10.
Okay.
And I've been steered a lot into the early childhood development area. So really, from preschool to second grade is really the most of the work that I find myself doing in schools. Now, I can do and I have done some work in high schools and in junior high schools, but primarily I like to focus on this group because this group is generally the group that is not focused on when it comes to music. It's
Mm.
easier to talk to the older children about more adult topics, but to have something specifically for this younger group to me is very important.
That's awesome. So, Devin, here's a big question. How many percussion instruments can you play?
I don't know if I can count them all because I don't have it set up here, but I can also play the xylophone, the marimba. I play all these instruments here you see are the rototoms, which is very popular in DC go-go music. I have woodblocks here. I have the congas here and the junior congas, a little smaller miniature versions of it.
Okay.
My main instrument is the drum set, so I can play that. But then all the other little tiny instruments that you will find, like the shakeré, the timbale, the cowbell, the clave, the riro, or the guiro. I'm terrible with my language. On you, the G is kind of silent sometimes, but it's the riro or the guiro. The talking drum, which is called the odando, which comes out of West Africa. And there's so many more that I can't even think of, and things that you even make. But one of the most popular instrument that I play during my show is the body. So I do the hand bone.
The hand bone. Tell us
The
about the
hand
hand
bone.
bone.
Well, the hand bone is an African drum technique that uses the entire body as a drum set to produce different sounds.
Wow.
And I first learned how to do it in the when I was in the fourth grade at 10 years old. For some reason, the music teacher had taught us a few of us it, and we ended up having a competition, and I came in second place. And I'm looking for my friend Gregory Gaines. He came in first place, and I want to redo that again 40 years later. But it was really just using your body to be able to almost like as a drum set to produce different sounds.
Well, can you teach us something?
Sure. All right, there we go. Now we got our finger snapping. And if you can't snap your fingers, just rub them together. But do them like you're a cool jazz player. Say, yeah, give me the jazz. Yeah, give me the jazz. Now I'm going to teach you the hand bone. It goes like this. First, you take your hands that you used to say hi. Bring it down low and hit up on your thigh. People might look at you funny and ask why. What's that called? I'm doing the hand bone. Let's try it together. Here we go. Thigh, up. Thigh, up. Thigh, up. You're sounding real good. The next thing you do is don't give your hand rest. Cause after you hit your thigh, hit one time on your chest. You put them both together, then you can confess real loud that I'm doing the hand bone. Let's try them together. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Thigh chest, thigh chest. Okay, we're halfway there. The next thing you do is just follow my command. Hit the top of your thigh with the back of your hand. You put them all together like a rotating fan. What's that called? I'm doing the hand bone. Let's see if we can do all three together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now don't beat yourself up out there, DJ. Hey, looking good. The last step you take, and don't you be shy. You finish all three parts with a slap on your thigh. You put them all together and say, oh my, what's that called? I'm doing a hand bone. Let's try all four together faster. 1, 2, 3, slap. 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 Hey, this is how I do it. We're doing the hand bone. That's what it's called. It's called the hand bone. Well, it's doing the hand bone. Now I'm gonna go a little bit faster, okay? Hand bone, here we go. Double time, hand bone go.
Whoa! Wow!
Now I can go a little bit faster. Let me see, I think I ate my breakfast this morning, so I can go faster. Triple time, hand bone go. Doing the hand bone, we're gonna have some fun. Hand bone with everyone. Hand bone, you can do it with me. Hand bone, or you can do it for free. Hand bone, nobody is fussing. Hand bone with body percussion. Hand bone, you got to be yourself. There you go. The hand bone.
Ah, that was
Oh,
incredible.
well, thank
I think I
you.
learned so much. I don't even need a drum because I have the hand bone.
The body was the first percussion instrument on earth. Absolutely.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Hmm.
well, can you teach us something on the djembe?
Let's see on the djembe. I'll use this one for now. I know I was gonna get the smaller one, but I can use this one.
And
Now,
I don't have a real djembe, but I do have this in my toy box.
okay, all right. No, oh, sorry about that. Absolutely. Well, what we can do, we'll start off with the djembe. Now, the one thing I love about the djembe is that all you need is your hands.
Okay.
You can always just start off with just a regular rhythm. I love talking about um, a rhythm or fast or slow. And I always just start off with a regular 1, 2 with your hands back and forth. And then if as you learn different things, you can go faster or just start adding a different rhythm. And so now the one thing about the djembe, and again, I wish I was a true expert at the djembe, but this one drum can make almost 5 or 4 different sounds. Like
Wow.
when you play on the edge, if you take your hand and you play on the edge of the drum, that's called the slap. It's almost like you're slapping it. And so that's the slap, but then in the center, you got the muff or the tone. No, the muff. And they got, and there's so many different sounds that you can make. I wish I can do them all, but and this one isn't as tuned as much. But let me just tell you about the djembe, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna do so using a song by our good friend Robbie Kumalo, who has been in the children's music scene for over 40 years. She's based in Portland, Oregon right now, and she has a beautiful song that teaches the djembe. Let's get a rhythm going. All right, and you can just it's a call and response, and you can repeat after me. Djembe, say it.
Djembe,
The djembe drums
djembe, djembe drum.
from West Africa.
West Africa,
It's made from a tree trunk.
made from a tree,
It's made from a tree trunk.
made from a tree,
It's made from a tree trunk.
made from a tree.
It's made from a what?
It's made from a what?
A tree trunk.
A tree trunk.
It's covered up with goat skin.
Covered up, goat,
It's covered up with goat skin.
covered up with goats,
It's covered up with goat skin.
covered up with goats.
It's covered up with what?
It's covered up with goat skin.
Yes. It's laced with rope.
It's laced with rope,
It's laced with rope.
laced with rope.
It's laced with rope.
It's laced with rope.
It's laced with what?
It's laced with rope.
It's hollow on the inside.
Hollow on the inside.
It's hollow on the inside.
It's hollow on the inside.
It's hollow on the inside.
Hollow on the inside.
It's hollow where?
It's hollow on the inside.
Let everybody say djembe.
Djembe,
Faster djembe.
djembe,
Everybody say djembe. 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 There it is, djembe, song by Robbie Kumalo.
Thank you, Uncle Devin. That was amazing.
Oh no. It's from I say from West Africa, and I know you are a product of Mother Africa as well. So a lot of beautiful things come out of there. So
We are all products of West Africa,
that's right.
all over the world. But yes, I'm Nigerian. And one of the things that I grew up doing was playing beats with my hands. So
Okay.
let's say at church or singing at a cultural event, a lot of times the beats, instead of clapping like this,
Hmm.
I grew up clapping like this,
Yes.
or like. So it was very fun. It was very interactive. And even if you didn't have drums, there was people doing beats in the audience
Yes.
constantly. And it
Yes.
just was a choir of even hand percussion, even if it
Yes.
was just voices and hand percussion. One of the songs that we would sing was actually in Ibibio, and it goes
Oh.
like this. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, of course. And
Amanam, Ayana Basi Amanam, Ae, Amanam, Ayana Basi Amanam, Sasangang, Amanam, Ayana Basi Amanam, Ae, Amanam, Ayana Basi Amanam, Sasangang. So
oh,
that is one of the songs in
beautiful.
Ibibio.
Beautiful. I love that. And you're right. I grew up in my whole family is Christian. Grew up in the church. My father's a minister. I grew up in the church. And to me, one of the most fascinating things was watching and listening to the songs, especially when the organ and the piano didn't play. And all you had was people stomping their feet, and like you said, people playing, clapping their hands, and they would find some very percussive ways to play. I remember watching the great Dizzy Gillespie once play use his hands to play a rhythm like this. And it brought me back to when I was in the church and watching some of the, especially the older ladies that would get into the spirit and they would start playing these rhythms, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful sound that I said, you know what, I need to study that and see if I can add that to what I do.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. That's so awesome. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to show us? I know I got these. What are these called?
Oh, it's called bongo, and in fact,
Bongo.
one of my mentors told me that because many times people want to put an S at the end, but he said that in the traditional spelling, there's never an S at the end of the word. If you have more than those, you will say you have two bongo drums. You'll never will say bongo. So in my children's book, the ABCs of percussion, which for every letter of the alphabet, there's a percussion instrument named after it, and it comes with the audio download or CD where you get to hear each instrument. I use the bongo for mine, and it's spelled. It goes like this: Bongo. Two small drums, one high, one low. Afro-Cuban, so hear what we say, playing different rhythms all night and all day. And so, and then you'll hear the version of it. My bongo is actually packed up. I have shows almost every other day here in DC, and I have it packed up, ready to go to another show. So I don't have mine in front of me. But the bongo is a very easy but very fun instrument to play.
So you have a bigger drum that looks similar. I think it's called the conga drum. Can you tell us
Yes,
about that?
yeah, the conga drum. Has its origins in Africa and definitely in Latin America. And this particular drum is probably one of your oldest drums that you may see and people may be more familiar with. And just like the djembe drum, you can make different sounds depending on where you hit it. So if you hit it on the edge, if you hit it in the center, and or if you can what they call a slap, or I do it on a deeper one. So I'm gonna give you a traditional, well, as much as I can. I'm certainly not an expert in traditional African rhythms.
Mhm.
We in the United States have, of course, everything comes from Africa. So what we've done is expanded on it. But a Wanwanko rhythm that uses kind of all those different rhythms. And the thing is, when you really get a number of these drummers together, and along with the clave and the woodblock, and just so many different instruments, it almost becomes hypnotic. The way that the beat makes you feel, and it really does bring the community together. So these are the congas, and here these are smaller ones. I don't know if let me see if I can turn it around so you can see it a little bit better. these are called junior congas, or here in the DC area we call them goombops. You see that they're the miniature size of the longer congas, and they give us the sound of the Cuban bata drums. And we use it a lot in go-go music. Go-go music was started in the 1970s by the godfather of go-go, Chuck Brown, known with the Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers. And they had he wanted to play songs in between he wanted to play rhythms in between songs when they would be playing top 40 songs, so that they can keep people out on a dance floor. But one of the things that they will use is that these would be tuned up real high. And a traditional go-go rhythm kind of borrows the wan-wan-ko rhythm, and it will sound something like this. And so there's so many different things that you can do with the drum, and I'm gonna see if I can do the what they call the slide. Let's see if this works. See if I can get it. Oh, I got it. Ah. And what you have to do is wet your hands a little bit so that your finger will slide and glide over the drum. And so some of them are so slick that while they're playing, there's so many different ways that you can just really bring this drum out, and people have taken this to a whole different level. So these are my congas and my junior congas, and they're used a lot in music around the world, but definitely right here in Washington, D.C. with our indigenous music called go-go music.
Go-go music. So what is your main genre of music? Is it funk and go-go music?
That's always a hard one because I grew up both in gospel, in go-go, and in jazz. But I grew up listening to R&B because that's what community that I was in. But I would say right now, without a doubt, the number one genre that I know the best would be DC's go-go music, which is a derivative of many of those others. But certainly that would be it.
DC go-go. Okay, well, you have a lot of other amazing drum sets there. What would you like to show us? You said your main is the drum set. Can you tell us the different drums that go into the drum set, and then play us a beat?
Sure. Now, to be a drummer, you have to be what they call ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous. What does that mean?
That means you have to be able to have, we all have different limbs, and each one of them will have to do something different. A good example is, you may have seen people do this before.
Oh, yeah.
You tap your head and you rub your belly and then switch it up.
Yeah.
Well, we have 4 different limbs typically when we place, and of course, I'm speaking of the traditional standard of playing. So I'm just going to take a jazz rhythm, just as you mentioned. We have here, this is an electronic drum set. I use the electronic drum set a lot for, definitely for videos because, and for Zooms and stuff like that, because it gives a better quality sound. But I'm gonna start off with this. We're gonna do a traditional jazz set. So we're gonna start off with the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want everybody out there, I want you to snap your fingers on the 2 and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, while you're doing that, I'm gonna start playing that on the hi-hat. The hi-hat is played with my foot, stepping on a pedal that generally claps 2 cymbals together. And so I'm going to, but this is electronic, so you won't see the cymbals. It goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the jazz, this will be the tempo. This is keeping the tempo. And then we have the cymbal. The cymbal is going to be played with my right hand, and it plays a different rhythm. While this is going 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I have this hand and this foot not doing anything. So this is going to add some accents. Just have some fun like this. And So there's different ways that it go. You can play. So you, as you can see, there's so many different instruments. And with the drums, just real quick, you have the hi hat.
Mm.
You got a two. Generally, I have here just two cymbals. We have the snare drum, and I have three tom toms. And then we have the bass drum. And then if you play in more of a modern beat, you just. And so you just end up adding more different things to it. And so the drum set to me has been the instrument that I've been most attracted to over the years, and one that I feel the most at home with.
How many performances do you perform in a year?
Well, non pandemic years, I was, or let's just say this year, this August, I'm so blessed and honored that we have over 22 shows in August alone. That is probably the most I've ever done, and so really, I'm averaging up to about 120, 130 shows a year. Um, and the beauty of it this year is that I've been all over the country. I've
Wow.
been down to Shreveport, Louisiana, and to Ann Arbor, Michigan, down to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and up to Massachusetts, and I'm in schools. I mean, that to me is the best place to be. You know, it's just the children love drums; they're naturally drawn to it, and so for me, I'm just making a guesstimate, but this year certainly I would have performed somewhere around 120, 130 shows this year.
Wow. So Uncle Devin performs 130 shows in a year. When you started out, how many were you performing?
When I first started off, maybe I was around 30 to 35. But keep in mind that I was working full time at the time, but what happened was the more I started learning the craft, the more I realized that there was a need for or a desire for what I had, and while I was working full time, I was already up to about 80 to 90 shows after about the fourth or fifth year. And I realized, you know what, I had to make a decision at this point because I was just really tired. I couldn't do both of them at the same time. So I decided to, in 2018, to walk away from a job of 20 years to do this full time.
Wow. So being a drumcussionist supports you and your family, and you can work as a drumcussionist full time.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I'm not one of those artists that always wanted to be a full time artist. I just did it as a hobby. It just came to me. So it was as I started seeing the need, and that's the most important thing for me. It's more so need than it was desire. There was a need for children to see an African man or African American man in front of them doing, having fun and educating. But also the demand, then not my demand, but their demands. So saying, well, look, we want you here, we want you there, and I would say right now about 90% of the shows I get are are shows that we have not advertised for, or shows that we haven't solicited. They have found us online, and so that's why I just say it's a honor to do what we do. And sometimes you have to know when you're being called to do something and step out on faith. And I'm just so grateful that I have my wife Lolita, who's 50% of the Uncle Devin Show, but also my family that have been supporting me from day one. And the foresight to plan to do this because you just don't jump out there. You got to really take your time. It may take 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, but you have to plan to get to the space, and that's what we've done, and it's really paying off for us right now.
So you're a full-time drumcussionist, but are you playing for bands or are you the headliner? What's the difference there?
Great question. When I was at the Art Break Music Festival in Shreveport, Louisiana, I was the headliner. I was the band. It was just a one one person band, and I didn't have to carry anything with me. They had a brand new drum set there for me. They had all the congas, all the roller toms, and I performed 22 shows in 6 days for over 10,000 students, and I was the headliner. Now, no, needless to say, I was exhausted. I almost lost my voice down there because of it. Um, but for me, it was in most cases, I am the headliner, or I'm there. Like I was when I played at the Ann Arbor Music Festival. They have different bands all throughout the day, so there's no one person that's the headliner unless they're really late at night. And I think the week I was there, I was second to the last that performed. There was a beautiful R&B group out of Detroit that played after us, and they tore the house up. But so in most cases, though, we are, we're playing at a library. We're the only ones performing, or we're at an assembly at a school. We're the only ones performing. And I don't even know. I don't know what I've done to deserve this, but I know that I'm enjoying it, and I believe that people are getting a lot out of it, a lot of education and a lot of entertainment.
Oh, that's amazing. So, what are three tips that you would encourage up and coming artists who might be drummers or who might be musicians what to do, and maybe three tips to not do?
Mm, okay. First thing is study your art form, master your art form. That will save you in many, many instances where things go wrong. And I'll say, for example, I have an electronic drum set. Well, one day I got to the show and there was no power, no power. So I had to just now rely on the natural drums and come up with some things to do there. And had I not practiced and prepared for any type of circumstance, I would have been really up a creek. So the first thing I say is study your art form. The second thing is plan. Consider and recognize yourself as a business. Whether you want to or not, you are a business. If someone pays you to play, then you're now obligated to file taxes on that money. You're now a business. Take it seriously, because
Yeah.
one of the things that happens in our industry is too many people sell themselves short,
Hmm.
and it has a negative impact on the entire industry. So,
And when you say sell themselves short, what do you mean by that?
not getting what you're valued for your performance. I mean, I know
Not
some people
charging
that
enough, right?
not charging enough. Thank you. That's exactly it. Now, figuring out what that rate is a science too, because when you're new to something, of course, you may not be making what someone that's been in the industry for 20 years is making. So you have to kind of wade through that process, and the best way to do that is talk to other artists, join arts organizations. I am the director, for example, of the DC chapter of the Teaching Artists of the Mid Atlantic. This is a group that advocates for teaching artists on every level, and we support one another in the field of making sure that we get treated fairly. But one of the beautiful things that we do is at least twice a month, we have these cafes where we get together and we just share information. For example, I may have someone give me a contract, and I say, you know what, someone gave me a contract. I have a question about this. Instead of just, and I guess this will lead to my third point, instead of just signing a contract, read that contract and talk to other teaching artists about that contract before signing it. Because two eyes are better than one, and many of us may have experienced what you've already gone through, or we can learn from what you're going through. So those would be my three things that for them to do: study your art form, look at yourself as a business, and read every contract before signing it.
I love that. I actually saw my career take off when after attending the Taxi Road Rally. It's a
Mm,
conference for musicians in Los Angeles where
mm,
there are tons of musicians. It was the first time I actually met a children's musician just like me. And I asked them, how are you booking gigs? They told me where they posted themselves online. As soon as I did that, I started booking and I was able to be a musician
yes,
almost full time. I had other
yes.
projects here and there, but I was a musician full time and I had no idea that you could do that. So you're
Right.
right. Going to conferences, being a part of music groups, and then asking them how they did it can really
Yes.
bring you success. So thank you for
Absolutely.
that.
Hmm.
So what are the different kinds of performing artists for drummers? Because I know there's a lot of drummers who are in a band and they're the drummer. So they don't usually handle any of that stuff. They just show up and play.
Hmm.
And so there's a different advice there. There's solo drummers who usually have their own show and they just perform. And then there's teaching drummers where yours is arts and education. It's called arts and education because you're actually teaching history of the drums, you're teaching them the different types of drums. And so it's a little bit more arts and education.
Hmm.
So, as a drummer, you know, what advice would you give specifically to drummers as
Hmm.
far as going full time in the industry or what is really necessary for each of those different areas? Because we were talking about you going full time, but you are a teaching
Teaching
drumcussionist
artists.
specifically
Yes.
for
Hmm.
children. And I don't think a lot of drummers know that there's a children's industry for music. So can you talk
Right.
to us about that?
Absolutely. You're right. There are many different avenues to being a drummer, and all three that you mentioned, I do all three. There are times when I'm hired out to play in someone else's band. Our good friends out of Chicago, Wendy and DB, were performing here in the Washington D.C. area, and but instead of flying a drummer over and trying to get drums here, they just hired me to sit in with them. So I did that, and now and so the focus wasn't on me; it was on them. Whereas for me, especially in the children's music space, most children's music artists play guitar or the ukulele. So they're sitting up there and a beautiful music, and I'm not knocking it, and it makes sense because it's a very easy instrument to carry around and to get a lot of sound out of. But I found that there were very few drum-led children's music programs out there. And just like with you, there are very few DJ-led children's music programs that are out there, which is why you are so needed and valued right now. And so for me, once I shifted there, my mindset had to go from being paid as a paid for hire, which is much lower. I mean, you get paid a couple $100s or what have you to play in someone's band, versus now you got to pay your band because I mean you're playing for yourself because remember you're a business, so
Yeah.
you should charge at least look at yourself as you're hiring yourself out for your own group. So you got the business, and the business is going to hire you out to play in the business, so that
Mm.
the business has to get paid, and then you have to get paid. Because if it's just you as a solo, like if it's just me as the Uncle Devin Show, then I got to get paid twice. The company's got to get paid because that's where the taxes come from. I got to get new drum heads. You're going to break stuff as you're going. You got to replace certain things. You're going to need insurance. You're going to need all these different things. So the band gets paid, and then I get paid separately as the performer. And so I think that will be the biggest difference that I see in that. And then if you just want to teach music, like even I'm about to start music lessons, which most of it would be online, where I can, if someone has a drum set, I can easily just as we're doing right now, and you were already doing it. I could just do some basic teaching
Yeah.
with sheet music. Yeah, exactly. So for example, I need you to go pop 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 pop. And with the lessons that I have, it comes with depending on what genre of music you want, we can practice playing some of your favorite songs. So we have the sheet music for it. We have recordings of it that you can practice along in between the lessons, so that when you come back, I can listen and see what you're doing and not doing, and we can work on that. So some are teachers, and that rate is different than what you would charge when you're doing a live show versus what you would charge if you're just a paid for hire. And if you Google it, most of them will come up and tell you what the general or the average price is. But if there's a drummer out there right now listening, you can always reach out to me and ask me questions about the price range that you should consider, and I'll be glad to share it with you. It does depend on where you live. Different parts of the country and different parts of the world will charge different things, and we can find ways to find that out.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. So, yeah, so not only is there drummers who assist in bands, who get called in to play for bands, there's drummers who are the headliners, there's teaching arts and education drummers, and you just said it, there's teaching drummers, so you can teach.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
just brought up something great. You can teach online,
Online.
not
Yes.
just in
In
person. So
person.
that just can take your career to new levels with course
Absolutely.
creators and coaching people. So we
Yes.
all have an opportunity here to do what we love, but also make a living or do it part-time, depending on what you want to do. So I love that.
Yeah, and I'll just share this, that as you start doing this, other opportunities that you probably have never thought about will start coming your way. So, for example, later tonight, I'm performing at a senior citizens home, and I was hired because they're having Grandparents' Day. So all the seniors that live there, they're bringing their grandchildren in with them, and they wanted a performance here. And and then another artist told me, "Oh, well, you know what, Devin? I'm playing at a senior citizen place because what's the whole saying that once an adult, twice a child?" Well, a lot of the things that I do is perfect for those in senior communities for motion, getting them up, clapping, getting them up, exercising, getting them up to play
Yeah.
instruments. That is huge for helping people with their health, and not only just their physical health, but their mental health, because
Yeah.
now they're connecting with the community. So, and I hadn't even thought about that. It just happened to come my way, and there's so many other opportunities that you'll find that will come your way once you get out there.
Oh, that's amazing. That's exciting.
Sure.
And it is, can you play us a trap beat?
Let me.
Let me try.
Can I?
Let
Yeah.
me
Go
see.
ahead. Mm,
Can you hear it?
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I didn't know that was what it was. It's a little. It's not the same, but many times they're using electronics so that.
That's actually Happy Birthday. That's one of my songs.
Oh, that's your song. That's right.
It's a Tokyo remix, so it's Happy
Yes.
Birthday to
It,
you.
it,
Happy birthday. Yeah.
oh, sure. You can go to, well, first of all, I'm on all the social media platforms. Just go to Uncle Devin Show. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, any of them. Uncle Devin Show. Now, Devin is spelled Devin. Sometimes people spell my name differently, but it's Uncle Devin Show. You can go to theuncledevinshow.com where you can contact us for any information that you need, bookings, merchandise, or what have you. And then, of course, we talk about We Nation Radio. You can go to We Nation Radio. That's WEE nationradio.com. Stands for Watoto Entertainment and Education. And you can hear 24/7 children's music, commercial free. Play it at your school, your library, your daycare. Play it in the car. Play it at home. Play it for yourself. Or you can play it anywhere you want. So that's how you can reach us, and we love to hear from you. Let us know. Let me know what you think. Any questions? That's what we're here for.
Thank you so much, Uncle Devin.